Thank you, Mr. President. Yamiche Alcindor from PBS
Yes.
NewsHour. My first question is, you said that you don't take responsibility, but you did disband the White House pandemic office, and the officials that were working in that office left this administration abruptly. So what responsibility do you take to that? And the officials that worked in that office said that the White House lost valuable time because that office wasn't disbanded. What do you make of that?
Well, I just think it's a nasty question, because what we've done is, and Tony has said numerous times that we've saved thousands of lives because of the quick closing. And when you say me, I didn't do it. We have a group of people. I could ask perhaps my administration, but I could perhaps ask Tony about that, because I don't know anything about it. I mean, you say we did that. I don't know anything about it.
You don't know about the reorganization that happened at the National Security
It's the administration.
Council.
Perhaps they do that. You know, people let people go. You used to be with a different newspaper than you are now. You know, things like that happen.
But this was
Please go ahead. We're doing a great job. Let me tell you, these professionals behind me and these great, incredible doctors and business people, the best in the world, and I can say that, whether it's retailers or labs or anything you want to say, these are the best in the world. We're doing a great job. We have 40 people right now, 40. Compare that with other countries that have many, many times that amount. And one of the reasons we have 40 and others have, and again, that number's going up, just so you understand. And a number of cases, which are very small, relatively speaking, it's going up. But we've done a great job because we acted quickly, we acted early. And there's nothing we could have done that was better than closing our borders to highly infected areas.
Of course Trump thinks it's a nasty question, in that he's gotten so used to people like Mike Pence being sent out to sing his praises that when he's forced to actually be held accountable, he'd first lash out then actually take responsibility for his own actions. But not only was the Republican been described as one of the most quietly effective leaders in global health, he coordinated a program called the President's Malaria Initiative, which reduced global malaria deaths by 40%, saving more than 6 million lives. Ordered the NSC's entire global health security unit shut down. Trump also fired Tom Bossert, Homeland Security Advisor on the NSC, who coordinated the response to global pandemics. And Dr. Luciana Borio, the NSC's Director for Medical and Biodefense Preparedness, also left the NSC. Zimmer was never replaced, Bossert was never replaced, and Borio was never replaced. But hey, not to worry, because Trump put Mike Pence and Jared Kushner in charge of the global pandemic, whose collective experience praying for the rapture and losing money on real estate deals leaves us in very capable hands. But of course, the fact that the federal government was purged of global health experts is definitely, totally not Trump's fault. And as he said, he didn't do it. After all, he just works there. By the way, that whole diffusion of responsibility does remind me of one Trump tweet in particular. In 2013, Trump took to Twitter and wrote, "Leadership. Whatever happens, you're responsible. If it doesn't happen, you're responsible." Marks quite the contrast to this.
Dr. Fauci said earlier this week that the lag in testing was, in fact, a failing. Do you take responsibility for that? And when can you guarantee that every single American who needs a test will be able to have a test? What's the date of that?
Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all.
Now, Trump says that 40 people died, as if that's a badge of honor, that 40 Americans have lost their lives. But beyond that, yes, there are more deaths elsewhere, the vast majority of which are in China and Italy, but the fact is that of the roughly 137 countries where there are cases, the United States has the 7th highest number of deaths in the world. That's not a statistic to brag about. And here's the most important part. Because the Trump administration declined the WHO test while we waited for the CDC to develop its own test, we don't know who has it here. There are estimates that tens of thousands of people in the US are unknowingly infected. And so the number of cases, and as a result deaths, will continue to climb. In other words, yes, there's only 40 now, but what about when there's 100, 500, 1,000? Will Trump acknowledge then that it was mishandled? Of course not. He's just gonna cling on to some low number at the very beginning of this thing and congratulate himself for it, because this isn't about facts or keeping people safe, it's about the political implications for him personally, and it always has been. He even suggests that there's nothing better we could have done than closing the border. Here's something: we could have tested people so we know who is infected and taken the necessary precautions before they went out to restaurants and showed up to work and got on planes. That would have been better. Closing the border is just him using the pandemic to advance his unrelated personal political agenda. Trump's been trying to close the border since before he took office. The Canadian Armed Forces itself could launch an attack on us, and the first thing Trump would do is get on TV and proclaim the southern border closed. In reality, as of Friday, there are 15 cases of coronavirus in Mexico. Meanwhile, there are over 100 cases in Canada. So I get that Trump will use anything as an excuse to promote his xenophobic agenda, but why he thinks sealing a border with a country with barely any cases, while our other border has nearly 7 times the amount of infections and remains wide open, is somehow helpful is beyond me. The fact is that every ounce of information we get from this administration is going to be delivered through the lens of insulating Trump. Whether he pretends that he doesn't know what's happening in his own administration, or straight gaslights us and says that the response has been swift when it's been nothing short of perhaps the most poorly handled crisis in American history, this whole thing is not about protecting American lives, and it never has been. It's only about giving the appearance of competence, despite still having no tests, despite Americans dying in increasing numbers, despite the stock markets tanking. Amid all of that, Trump is only concerned with one person: himself.